and just calling names. Your mother and your father are related. Your sister is definitely really close to you in a bad way, and you have mental health problems. You have mental, like, you have some, you are remedial, bro.
Okay, so I finally am doing my most requested video. I've had so many people in my comments request, hey, do Player Essence. He's a fanboy. You have to do it. So I finally did it. Because at first, I had a little bit of hard time figuring out why he was a fanboy. And then I started watching his streams. And then I'm like, okay, I can see it. And then I remember what he did to Dezire, which was completely wrong of him. And you should never sit there and do that. You got to leave the children alone. Do not do that. So here it is, folks. Finally, I'm giving you what you want, and I hope I earn a subscribe for it. Let's get into it. And remember, if there's a fanboy that you would like me to react to, please let me know down below. Please link the specific video you want me to react to. And remember, if it's a very long video, please make sure to timestamp it.
You are like legitimately remedial. Like, I'm so sick and tired of you. Like, you're just these dumbasses that have no respect for anybody. You take video games way too seriously because you've got nothing else going for you. You come into my stream every night talking.
Really? We all take games way too seriously? You're the one that made a video sitting there saying that the controversy behind Mario Kart World is beyond exhausting, and yes, I did watch it. You know, and I will sit there and accept that you sat there and did say that the $80 price point is too high. But you're still buying it, you're still buying the bundle. So you're sitting there still helping Nintendo out when it comes down to it. The only way, if you want the controversy to end, is you should have held the line and refused to buy it. Nintendo would have dropped the price. Now, I've said this many times before. I don't think Nintendo actually thinks that Mario Kart World is worth $80. I don't think anybody with an IQ above room temperature thinks that that game is worth $80. I think the only reason why they set it at $80 was to try to sell the bundle and give you guys the illusion that you're really getting a deal when you're not.
And I'm so sick and tired. I can't even get through just chill on a Friday without this dumbass coming here every single stream. I'm sick and tired of it, man. Like, y'all just leave me alone, okay? Stop making sock accounts. Leave me alone, or I swear to God, I'm gonna go through my YouTube contacts and find where the hell you are.
Man, you are triggered all because someone sat there and asked you, well, it's probably a troll that sat there and asked you, but someone asked you that, oh, about the whole VRR thing, I think, which honestly, I thought when people were saying VRR, I thought they were saying VR. So I was wrong. I'll admit in that one video, yes, I was wrong.
Okay? Like, legit dead ass, Seven. Like, just leave me alone, bro. You've been coming here with multiple accounts, okay? Give me another time. I'm dead serious. I'm gonna freaking go through my YouTube contacts. I'm gonna find where your ass is, all right? So leave me the hell alone.
Okay, just to sit there and say this, because this goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it. I do not condone harassment. Now, if I think I know what's happening is this person is truly criticizing this person, and he just cannot handle criticism, it seems like. You are getting all up in your feelings just because someone asked you, what about the VRR? Because they called you a Nintendo fanboy. They're words, man. Who cares? Get over it. You know, a normal person is not going to get this triggered over sitting there being asked about a simple question, my guy. I understand that you were going to get into it and it was first off the bat, but not everybody has time to wait for you to get to your damn points.
God damn, bro. Like, I'm so sick and tired of you guys. Every day, every single thing is some type of name calling. I swear I beat the hell out of you. Just leave me alone.
You ain't gonna do shit. Just remember, you ain't that guy.
Loki No Switch 2 already sold out, sold more than the Steam Deck and just the pre-orders. It probably did if you count worldwide. Like, if you count everything, it probably outsold Steam Deck just on pre-orders. Yeah, it probably did. If you count Japan, because Japan's looking to have maybe upward of $1 million. So yeah.
$1 million? I think you mean 1 million units. Yeah, of course they would outsell what the Steam Deck has outsold so far, especially when Japan's getting theirs on welfare.
Yeah, I don't know about that. In terms of Switch 2 getting emulated in a month, Nintendo better hope that it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know about a month, but Davy Jones will definitely have that emulated pretty soon. I am hoping that the CEO of the Flying Dutchman Industries will be sitting there sailing over with that emulation.
When it comes to Nintendo trying to hide or manipulate reviews, that's not it. There's a big day one patch or update that has many of the main features, so you can't review the system until that update is live. So that's the reason why that.
And they can make that update before the launch date if they really want to. I guarantee you they have that damn update already ready to go right now. The reason why they're not giving out the review units is because they don't feel like they have to. Because if you look back on the Switch 1, they gave many people a review unit. Look at Switchforce, he got one a week before the launch date, and it had a day one patch also. Pretty much every console has a day one patch, so that's nothing new. They just don't feel like they have to. And I also think they don't want people reviewing Mario Kart World until it's too late, you know, because like when it comes to the console itself, the pre-orders are already pre-ordered. I mean, it's not going to stop people from getting it. The people that want it are still going to get it regardless. There's nothing that the review units can do. Now, when it comes to the Mario Kart World, because there are some people that just bought the unit and didn't buy the game itself, now, I don't think that they want those reviews to come out early. I think they want to wait until those after the launch.
That's the reason why you're not going to get reviews before then. You're not going to get reviews before then because of the huge day one patch. That's the reason why. So if you review the system and then there's a big day one patch that adds all the actual features or a lot of the features that you need to review the system for, that is a worthless review. So,
well, here's a thought. Have the day one patch before the launch date. That's not a very hard thing to accomplish now, is it? Now, if you actually believe that they cannot sit there and give out these units because of that day one patch, and they cannot give that day one patch out before the launch date, I got a beachfront property to sell you in Antarctica. It is an amazing deal. You can raise a family on it. You can have farm animals, grow produce and everything. Great deal for you.
I mean, could they update the firmware, unpack the system, update the firmware, pack it back in there, then send it to the journalists? Sure they could, but I wouldn't waste my time doing that. Like,
there you go. Finally, you're using that IQ that you got, which probably ain't much to begin with. You are a fanboy after all. But yeah, they could do that, but they don't feel like they need to. Nintendo's looking at how well they sold the Switch. They're like, why do we need to? There's no reason for us to do this. Now, it does set a very bad precedent going forward doing this. You do want people to review this stuff, but they don't feel like they need to.
It's the launch of a system. The people that are hyped to get the system have already pre-ordered the system. Now, if nobody was pre-ordering it, then yeah, maybe you take that effort to unpack the system or grab it off the assembly line or whatever the case is. Download the firmware update or hook it up so they can get it early because it's a day one patch. It's set to go live early or whatever. Get the day one patch, pack it back up, and then send it to each journalist. But you're not going to do all that. You're just going to send the system and say, hey, look, your review can be complete. Maybe you start writing your review and then your review's complete by X, Y, and Z.
Well, if they start doing a review right now, then that means that review is going to be a fake. It's not a real review. You can't write the review before you get it, so that makes absolutely no sense.
You know, the weekend or something like that, right? But most people that are getting the Switch 2 at this point, it's the sold out pre-orders, whatever. They're not waiting on a review. They're just going to buy the system. So it doesn't really matter whether there's a review before it or not. People have already made up their mind on if they're going to get it at launch, and then that review will be there for other people after the launch that are not, you know.
What?
Yeah, see, pretty much what I said. When it comes to the system, I don't think Nintendo has anything to hide when it comes to the system themselves. Now, I definitely do not think Nintendo wants the review to go out about Mario Kart World before the launch. That one I think they are hiding, because I don't even think Nintendo thinks that game is worth $80. That's why they're giving you that bundle to make it appear you're getting it only for $50, even though you're overpaying for the system itself by $120.
Is it going to be the best quality? No, that's okay. It doesn't have to be. People are not looking for that on the Nintendo Switch 2. They're not looking for the highest quality. If they're looking for the highest quality, then they would buy the $700 or $800 ROG Ally 2, or they'd buy a PC and deck out your PC. People are just looking for a good, better than Nintendo Switch. They're looking for a decent enough price for better quality, and they're looking to have hybrid play. And
I would actually agree with you, except for the decent price part, because that Switch 2 is not at a decent price. I would agree if it was, if Japan wasn't getting theirs for so much cheap. Literally, Japan's getting theirs almost a third cheaper than what we're getting ours.
And they're looking for Nintendo's games to run better. That's the biggest thing. How do Nintendo's games run? Do Nintendo's games run good enough? And obviously, we've seen so far pretty much every game, hit 60 frames per second with everything that Nintendo's shown off so far. So that's what people were looking for. That's why the system is done so well.
Okay, let's not pretend like we all don't know why the system is doing so well. The reason why this system is selling the way it is, number one, I think a lot of scalpers are buying this system and going to try to scalp it. But if we take out the scalpers, I think people are afraid of the tariffs. I believe that people are thinking that the tariffs are going to go back up. So I believe everybody is panic buying the system right now. Now, I could be wrong, but also when you take into account Japan sales, which isn't even a fair metric to go by, when they're getting theirs so much cheaper than what everybody else is, that's not really a fair metric to go off of. So if you take those two into account, I don't think the console's selling as well as a lot of people think it is.
Now, at this point, if you're a hater or whatever, you come in, this is where the bootlicking or whatever would come in to play. But here's what I would say. It's not that. It's the factual statements, because look at the pre-orders. Look at the excitement of people buying it in Japan. Look at the excitement of the Nintendo fans.
Of course you would use Japan again to justify your statement. Of course you would. Come on, man. They are literally getting theirs on welfare, and we're forced to subsidize it. How can you sit there and use that as a metric to sit there and be like, oh, look how excited everybody is for this console?
This is what's actually happening. This is the real deal. I'm trying to tell people this is what people are looking out for. The problem is that people are terminally online, so they think that anybody that's telling people or telling you what is happening, the real deal, like, hey, look, people are not looking out for the best specs. They're not looking out for this. They confuse that with defending. It's not.
See, I would actually agree with you on that one, just because most Nintendo fans don't really care about the whole specs. I will admit, when I came to playing the Pokemon games, I didn't care about the specs. I just enjoyed the Pokemon games. Now, we'll sit there and say, if they're going to sell that Legend Z to A at $70, it needs to have voice acting. I keep sitting there saying Nintendo's games are not at a AAA level, and that is one reason why. If you sit there and bump a Pokemon game up to the AAA level, it needs to meet those standards, and voice acting is a part of it.
What I'm telling you is what's been said about Nintendo platforms since the beginning, since the Game & Watch. Look, the Game & Watch sold how much? Did that have the most cutting-edge graphics? No, there was probably computers that were better than Game & Watch. But people like the fact that you can sit there and play a game and those little Game & Watch systems sold a ton for Nintendo. Or even if you want to go towards the Game Boy, what about the original Game Boy? That was outdated literally as soon as it dropped. The NES was way better than it. And the NES came out years prior. Hell, the NES, the Famicom, that system, the early 80s, right?
Now, I did not remember the Gaming Watch. That's well before my time. If you remember that, man, oh shit, you're a lot older than what I think you are then. But when it came to the Game Boy, yeah, it was already outdated. That is very true, but many people bought it. I had a Game Boy Color. I loved it, but I had a Game Boy Color mainly for one thing, and that was Pokemon. Whenever it came to the handhelds, most of the time, I only ever cared to play the Pokemon games. And then when they started putting Monster Hunter in, that was another reason. So yeah, mainly I always had the Nintendo handheld for those two games, the Monster Hunter games and the Pokemon games.
That this is what's happening. This is the reason why it's doing well. Whether you want to agree with it or not, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But I'm telling you why it's having the success. That's why, like I said, some of these people that are haters.
No, we're not being haters. You can sit there and try to say, oh, we're being haters, we're trying to take down Nintendo. No. And I love how, because I've been noticing through this whole stream what you like to do. You like to cherry pick the stats to sit there and try to fit your narrative, and you're completely taking them out of context, like saying like, oh, look at Japan, look how excited they are in Japan. Well, of course they would be excited. How about sell us the damn Nintendo Switch 2 for $330 and see how much they sell out here?
They don't know why the pre-orders were so good. They're confused,
Oh no, we know why the pre-orders are so good. Just like I said, when you sit there and cherry pick these stats to fit your narrative, it's going to make it appear like, oh, so many people are way more excited than people think. No, Japan's only excited because they get theirs at a significant price discount, and they're laughing at you guys because you guys are the ones that are forced to subsidize their welfare system.
People confuse knowledge with fanboying, and that's not it. I've got a good amount of knowledge, and I'm telling you guys what's going to happen.
If you have so much of a good amount of knowledge, then why don't you sit there and just be honest about why the system is doing so well? Why don't you sit there and bring up the fact that Japan is getting theirs at a significant discount compared to us? Why don't you bring up the fact that so many people are afraid that the tariffs are going to go up and there might be panic buying? Those are some strong possibilities.
So yeah, bro, don't get me started on whenever you mention Japan. Western centrism kicks in for these weirdos. They'll say that Japan doesn't matter. Japanese games have bad taste. Yeah, I saw one guy that talked about how the Switch 2 was going to have only.
Now, Japan matters, especially when it comes to the games, but when people, especially like you, are using the stats that the console's doing so well, because of Japan. So they're saying, oh, look how well it's selling out in Japan. That's being disingenuous to the rest of us, because I know, and you know also, that Japan is getting that at a significant discount. Most people do not realize that, because a lot of people are not sitting there reporting on that.
Why do fanboys act like they just don't see the proof? I hate to use the term, but a lot of these guys are just fanboys at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to use the term.
Well, now he can't stand being called a fanboy. I cut a lot of the stuff out because I can't sit there and react to the whole stream. This video will be like a 5-hour long video then. But eventually he tries to sit there and say that the people who are criticizing Nintendo are the real fanboys, because we're all fanboys of PC, which he doesn't realize. I love everything. I love Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, PC. I love it all. It don't matter to me. I want to play where I can get the best deal when it comes down to it. That's it. But now he's just trying to reverse it onto us, saying like, oh, we're the fanboys.
When it comes down to gaming, guys, and like I said, I've been gaming for a very long time.
Well, yeah, you grew up with the Atari time, so of course you've been gaming for a long time.
And every single time that I've seen something in terms of the games, in terms of whatever, people always try to downplay something that they don't like.
Well, not all of us, but when it comes to your situation, it's because you're cherry picking stuff and you're not being completely honest about why the system is doing as well or why the games are doing as well.
If they don't like this, they'll try to downplay it to, like, before the system launches, right? They'll downplay it to the nth degree.
A lot of us do not like how the games are going up to $80, and then you guys are sitting there paying for them, and it's ruining the rest of the industry. It's ruining it for everybody else, because then the rest of the companies are going to follow suit and do it too. So then guess what? When Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, if it sits there and hits $80, I'm going to be blasting them for it. And I already know I'm going to get a lot of hate from those GTA fanboys. Just you wait.
And when they're wrong about it, they'll bring out excuse after excuse after excuse, even though it's right there. Once again, spec stuff, that's fine. I don't think the specs are bad off the spec sheet. I think it's a significant improvement.
No, we're not making excuses. We're pointing out facts. We're pointing out that the reason why the system is doing so well in Japan is because they're getting it on a welfare system. And, you know, a lot of people are scalping the units. That is very true. I bet you can even acknowledge that one. And also, this is my personal opinion. I got no proof to back this one up. I honestly do believe that when it comes to the tariffs, a lot of people are afraid these prices are going to jack up even further. So I do think that they are panic buying. Well, that's going to be it for this video. He just keeps rambling on and on and on, and I'm getting tired of continuing it on. So if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. And if you can get this video up to 100 likes, I will react to one of his older videos where he was sitting there saying how he's so tired of the $80 price point of Mario Kart World. So remember, guys, until next time, stay vigilant.